feeling blocked on the spiritual journey, feeling that there's this perimeter, this threshold that you just can't cross, almost as if there's just this stuckness, this blankness. There's maybe the incessant thoughts appearing in such a way that you feel you're still stuck in your old same way, right? All these signs which lead you to believe that you are not yet where you either imagined, thought, or expected yourself to be at this point. Maybe you've already made great realizations, insights have arisen, all these things have occurred, you have experienced, and you have this confirmation of your own insight in this way. Great. But now you feel that it is no longer clear, it is all muddled up, your mind is a haze, and you just can't get out of this daze, right? Well, the key word here is really expectation. You expect it to look a certain way. You have this idea that it needs to be this grandiose fireworks just blowing off. You need a peaceful, tempered mind. You need to behave in a certain way in various situations. You cannot have arisings happening naturally, because if you do, if you even cling to, it must be an indication that you are not yet where you thought, imagined, believed, hoped, or wanted yourself to be. And it is a really curious thing then, because it just adds extra layers and dimensionality to all of this, really. Because who is to say that it needs to look a certain way? Where did you get the idea from that what you are looking for needs to take a certain shape, a certain appearance, that it needs to be represented in what you may have been alluded to believe by other people? Sure, you can read all the books about samadhi, about kundalini awakenings, about realizations and spiritual experiences, all jhanas, all this stuff, right? Which, yeah, you can have grandiose spiritual experience. I've had plenty. I've had countless. I've had so many experiences that have just been mind-blowing, just out of this world, crazy. But you know what? They've all come and gone. They've all come and gone over and over. Always have I returned to not even return to anything. But experiences come and they go. And the importance here is not to fixate or expect, desire a particular experience, because, yeah, you can. I mean, I spent years on various trips that I might have taken, right? Where, you just feel so in tune, harmonious, in flow with life after taking whatever substance it may be. And at the tail end of this trip, you just feel the gears clicking back in, the egoic structures just cramping down back on your mind. And yeah, I tried so hard for so many years to not make this happen, to stay in that flow. And I've never been successful. I don't know of anyone who's ever been successful in that undertaking. And it is really an unfruitful quest to be on, because there's no way you can do it. No experience is going to be everlasting. The only everlasting thing is that which experiences appear in. And so you may want to investigate what that is, who you are prior to the arisings and disappearings of the many, many experiences. And just, I mean, we can experience all these dimensions, these realms, other beings. And what is it really all worth? When you leave this life, you may go to another realm, another plane of existence, still as some limited being, maybe less formful than this, thus more formless, less dense, perhaps more peaceful, more radiant, all these things, but you will still be in the subject-object relationship of you imagining yourself to be a particular being in a particular world. And in that, you may always be on the quest of trying to get somewhere or achieve more or to be more liberated. But I often contemplate why are we trying to achieve higher dimensions of existence? Why are we trying to climb this ladder of complexity in pursuit of what God is, of what we intrinsically are, of our originality? Because if anything, God isn't more. God isn't more. You cannot add layers upon layers upon layers in order to build this stairway to heaven. And I mean that metaphorically, because obviously what I'm trying to point to is that so many people take on these practices, identities, belief systems, all these many things in order to try to get somewhere. A more peaceful, grandiose, happy, joyful, exciting experience. More flowful, all these things. And what about finding out what 0 dimensions looks like? What about going more simple? In fact, going so simple that you might have never even imagined it to be so simple. That perhaps what you're looking for is right here. That perhaps what you're really looking for, although you don't think you do, although you overlook it every day, is in fact right here. And it is in fact even closer than right here, because what if it is actually you? And I don't mean you in the way that you take yourself to be a human being with these conditions on a spiritual journey that feels blocked. I mean the you that you are prior to the idea of a you even appears. So I often like to say that God doesn't need to remind itself that it is God. You don't need to go around chanting or saying, I am, I am, I am, I still am, I am, in order to know that you are. I mean, that might be helpful initially. It might be helpful as like a prompt to relax tension back into your own being, to just say the words, I, or I am. But do you really need to refer to yourself to know that you exist, to know that you are? And hopefully the answer is no. Because if at any point I were to ask you if you exist, if you are aware, you wouldn't even need to answer the question. Because by the very fact of you answering yes or no, or whatever it may be, or I don't know, which is the most common one I come across in other people, even before the answer arises as a thought, even before it is uttered as words, there is the presence of your very being, existence itself. And that doesn't need a label, a representation, either by thought or word or nothing. It is apparent, it is simple, it is obvious. It is in fact so apparent and obvious that we just tend to overlook it. We tend to not even recognize that we exist. We take it for granted. We think that everything else exists except us. Or at least we think that whatever we believe ourselves to be is that which exists. But when discarding all of that, what is really left? What is really left when everything else describable is removed? And so return to my original point. If you feel a blockage, if you can see, feel, grasp, sense, whatever it is that you consider a blockage in your experience, a blockage of your seeing, of your knowing, of your clarity, of your being, ask yourself, on what side of the blockage are you? Are you on the blocked side, on the opposite side? Or are you the one seeing both the one that feels blocked as well as the blockage itself? Aren't you the one that is able to see, to witness, to know both the blockage as well as the idea of being blocked? We take it for granted that there is really no limitation that can be imposed upon what we are. Because the moment you could describe the limitation, to whom does the limitation arise? Who is limited? Who is limited? Because if the you that you take yourself to be is the one that is limited, well, who is the one that is aware of the limited one? Who is the one that is aware of the limitation as well as the one feeling limited? Those go hand in hand. But there is something beyond that. There is something prior to that. There is that which you are in the midst of the limited one as well as the limitation being imposed upon that one. And that may seem convoluted, but I want you to imagine that the limitation is akin to putting a newspaper up in front of your eyes. And it is true, you can't see anything. At least it seems you can't see anything. But you know what? Your eyes are still fully functional. There's nothing wrong with your eyes. And in much the same way, there's nothing wrong in experience, there's nothing wrong with you, with what you truly are, because everything is perfectly in order. You simply need to recognize that, yeah, you've got this newspaper, this idea of blockage placed so close to your sense of self that you just can't distinguish the two. So start by just noticing that, yeah, I see the blockage. And the very fact that you see the blockage, it's just like removing the newspaper a teeny tiny bit, just so that you can see the first little sentence or words on the piece of paper. Because then you know, oh, okay, this is a newspaper, this is a piece of paper, right? And then you may be able to move it even further away to gain that clarity, to see that, yeah, I was holding up a piece of paper in front of my eyes all the whole time. That's why I couldn't see out my damn eyes. Right? Yeah. There's nothing that can limit you, block you, or keep you stuck, sorry. There's nothing that can ever impose upon you, to contract you, to do anything to you, because what you are is the boundless, the indescribable, the infinite. There truly is nothing that can constrain you or retain you in any way that can block you. So by the very fact of you being able to refer to limitation, to blockage, to stuckness, you are already beyond it. You are already beyond it the moment you recognize it. So recognize that you're recognizing and be beyond it for good. Take care. Have a wonderful day.